I mean, looking back at the whole mess now, I still can't wrap my head around how everyone blew it way out of proportion, like I was some kind of villain in a soap opera or something. All I was doing was chasing a little happiness, you know? But I guess stories like this always get twisted, so I should probably start from the top to set the record straight. There's so much backstory people conveniently forget, and honestly, it changes everything when you hear the full picture. So, Dave and I had been together for almost 8 years when things started shifting, heading toward what would have been our 10th anniversary if everything hadn't gone sideways. 10 years, can you imagine? And don't get me wrong, the early days were solid, like really good in that comfortable, no drama way. We had this cozy little condo in sunny San Diego, with all the random stuff from when we first shacked up. You remember how it is when you're young and merging lives, his beat-up gray recliner that always had that faint gym sock smell from his old roommate's cat, my rickety black bookshelf from Target that leaned a bit to the left no matter how many books I crammed in there. Dave had this annoying quirk of leaving water spots on our glass coffee table, those cloudy rings that built up if you didn't wipe them right away, and I was hoarding like 25 essential oil diffusers because I went through this phase with Young Living stuff. The lavender ones with the oil residue crusted around the edges. Dave was always the strong, silent type, which drew me in at first because it felt steady and mysterious, like he had this inner world I could uncover. He'd lounge there scrolling on his tablet while I'd ramble about my shift at the office, and he'd give these little nods or grunts like he was totally tuned in. He hated arguments, which was a relief after my last boyfriend who turned every little thing into World War III. With Dave, life felt easy, no fireworks but no explosions either. But then, about 3 years ago, the vibe changed in a way I couldn't quite pin down. It was subtle at first, but Dave started pulling away more than usual, like he was retreating into some shell I couldn't crack. He'd drag himself home from his construction job and just flop onto that recliner, staring at the wall or flipping channels without really settling on anything. The AC became this ongoing battle because he was always hot, cranking it down to 65 degrees, and I'd be shivering under a blanket. Dishes piled up in the sink for days, his favorite green mug with the faded logo sitting there with coffee scum at the bottom. And I'd try to be there for him, right? I'd ask what was bugging him, and he'd just mumble that he was stressed or exhausted. But it wasn't just that, it was like a fog had rolled in and never left, hanging over everything. Our bedroom turned into this cold, quiet zone, with his pill bottles lining the nightstand, those antidepressants rattling every time he shifted in bed during his sleepless nights. The clicking of the ceiling fan above us drove me nuts, but fixing it always got pushed to tomorrow. That's when I started connecting more with Ryan at work. Ryan was this guy in marketing, kinda lanky with this goofy grin that always made me smile. He'd hang out by the water cooler in the break room, next to that faded hang-in-there cat poster peeling at the corners. The overhead lights buzzed constantly, giving everyone headaches, but Ryan somehow made it bearable. It started super casual, you know, just chit-chat about weekend plans or complaining about deadlines. But one afternoon, I'm filling my purple tumbler, the one with the dent from when I dropped it in the parking lot, and Ryan asks how I'm really doing, not the surface-level stuff. And I guess the dam broke because I started spilling about how things were at home, how Dave was in this funk that was sucking the life out of everything. Ryan actually listened, like put his coffee down and leaned in, asking real questions. When's the last time Dave did that? I'm sitting there thinking, when's the last time my own husband looked up from his screen long enough to care about my day without those distracted hums? So, yeah, we started talking more, like every day. Ryan would swing by my desk with some excuse about a report, or I'd accidentally time my breaks when I knew he'd be grabbing a snack. It felt electric, having someone actually excited to hear from me. But of course, Dave had to turn it into a thing. I get home one evening, probably around 10:52 because I remember checking the dashboard clock, and Dave's perched on the bed edge, staring at his phone like it's a bomb about to go off. Our room was a disaster, my yoga pants draped over the dresser, that old alarm clock blinking because the power flickered again. His fingers are trembling a bit, which should have tipped me off that he was gearing up for drama. He shoves the screen at me, and it's screenshots of my texts with Ryan. Nothing scandalous, just friendly banter, but Dave's acting like he uncovered state secrets. And I'm like, seriously? You're snooping through my phone now? That's so invasive and paranoid. And truth be told, maybe if Dave actually engaged with me instead of zoning out in his depression fog, I wouldn't need to chat with someone who makes me feel seen. I laid it out for him right there. Ryan's just a friend, and if Dave can't handle me having platonic connections, that says way more about his insecurities than anything I'm doing. But nope, things just spiraled at home from there. Dave's intimacy drive tanked completely, which I get, the meds and all, but that doesn't mean I have to live like a nun, right? We'd attempt it sometimes, usually late at night when we were both wiped, and it just fizzled. He couldn't rise to the occasion, literally. And I'd lie there staring at the digital clock glowing 10:52 or whatever, hearing the neighbor's dog barking through our thin walls, thinking, is this it? This is my life? One night, I hit my limit. I wasn't trying to be harsh, but needs are needs. So I asked him point blank, since you're not up for it right now, can I get intimacy elsewhere? And he stared at me like I'd suggested robbing a bank. But come on, it's a valid question in a mature relationship. I'm not demanding something wild, I'm just being practical about human desires. That's when I started floating the idea of opening things up. I'd read tons of articles, listened to podcasts, and seen how it worked for other couples. It's not some fringe thing, it's about being honest and realistic. So, I brought it up over breakfast one morning. Dave was letting his oatmeal congeal, stirring it absent-mindedly while I'm pouring my heart out about our future. He shut it down instantly, mumbling about his values and how he couldn't wrap his head around it. But I'm sitting there like, okay, so your outdated values trump my fulfillment? That feels pretty one-sided. I didn't let it go, how could I? This was make or break stuff. Our relationship was crumbling, and I was offering a lifeline that could work for us both. It took over a year of back and forth, me patiently explaining how this could relieve the pressure, how maybe if I wasn't relying solely on him, he'd feel less burdened. Dave was stubborn as hell, digging in his heels, but I kept at it because I cared about us. The turning point came one endless night after we'd hashed it out for hours. Dave was slumped on the recliner, looking utterly drained, tissues scattered on the coffee table from his tears, my phone lighting up with ignored notifications. The TV droned on mute, some infomercial hawking miracle blenders, and he finally caved. Fine, whatever you want, he muttered, not exactly thrilled, but it was a start. I tried not to beam too obviously, I didn't want him backpedaling, but inside, I was relieved. Finally, this could breathe new life into us. Once he saw how much lighter I felt, he'd get it. Ryan and I had been building tension for months, so when Dave greenlit it, it felt like freedom. Ryan's studio apartment was this quirky spot with slatted blinds casting striped shadows in the afternoon sun, smelling like fresh brew and his woodsy aftershave. I slipped my wedding ring into my purse, ignoring the 4 missed calls from Dave lighting up my screen. But hey, Dave had agreed, this was our new normal. And let me tell you, I'd forgotten what it felt like to be truly wanted. Ryan was all in, no distractions, no fog, just pure connection and fire. We hooked up at least 12 times over the next few months, his place with the creaky bed frame, his car in that secluded lot by the beach, even a motel during an extended lunch break. Each time, I felt more alive, more like the woman I'd been before becoming Dave's emotional crutch. But then Dave drops this bomb about moving. He found this house an hour north, in some sleepy suburb, gushing about a fresh start like relocation would magic away our issues. Suddenly, there are boxes everywhere, labeled in his precise handwriting, kitchen, books, miscellaneous, and he's hammering nails to hang pictures, trying to make it ours. But I'm thinking, a new zip code won't fix the void. Plus, now I'm commuting forever from Ryan, which sucks. Still, I figured, okay, maybe this opens doors to new people. I fired up some dating apps, scoped out a trendy cafe in the neighborhood with mismatched mugs and a barista with tattoos who kept glancing my way. I flipped my ring around, diamond inward, and started swiping. There were some intriguing guys nearby, adventurous types, funny bios. I messaged a few, keeping it light at first, but it felt empowering to have options again. Dave couldn't expect me to wither in isolation just because we relocated. The whole point was freedom, right? Things hummed along okay at first. I was meeting folks, feeling desired and vibrant, and Dave seemed less fixated on Ryan since the distance. But a week ago, it all imploded. I'd gone out with this guy, Ethan, nothing heavy, just drinks and laughs, but we ended up at his loft, and I guess I didn't freshen up before heading home. I slip into our bedroom at 1:19 a.m., the clock's glow mocking me, and Dave's waiting, perched on the bed like a statue. His hands are balled in his lap, eyes red-rimmed, and I can tell he's pieced it together, smudged lipstick, Ethan's scent clinging to my hair. And I'm like, come on, we have a deal. Why the drama? But Dave just stares with this wounded look, saying nothing, which hits harder than any yell. The next morning, I'm in the kitchen, and Dave's fumbling with the coffee maker, hands shaky, avoiding my gaze. His toast sits cold, the timer beeping ignored. My phone vibrates with texts from Ethan and a couple others, but the room's tension is thick as fog. Then he says it, quiet and defeated, I want to leave. And I'm stunned. Wait, what? No, this isn't how it's supposed to go. I mean, he agreed to this, now he's bailing? That's not fair. I can adjust. Let's talk it out. We sink into the couch for hours, afternoon sun fading to dusk, my voice raw from explaining. Tissues pile up as I get emotional, his phone face down like a truce flag. I lay it all bare, how I never meant to hurt him, how this was meant to save us, how maybe I overdid it but we can dial back. Be more discreet, check in more. I wasn't selfish, I was surviving. But Dave's walls are up, his mind set, not really hearing my fixes, which stings because I'm vulnerable here, owning my part, and he's stubborn as ever. I thought we'd patched it, honestly. Dave calmed down, and I felt a spark of hope. But then I uncover he's been scheming behind my back, apartment listings in his browser history, a lawyer's card tucked in his glove box. He's been sneaky with his phone, dodging eye contact, acting all shady. And I'm furious, I can't believe he'd fake working on us while plotting his exit. That's dishonest, manipulative. If you want it out, say it, don't string me along. 2 days ago, he drops the facade. I walk in, and suitcases gape on the bed, clothes folded precisely, our wedding photo face down on the dresser like a bad omen. My phone's blowing up with worried texts from Ryan, word spreads fast, but Dave's calm as he packs toiletries into a Ziploc, announcing he's found a place, filed papers, and is leaving today. Just like that, after a decade, because what? I sought joy. I tried saving our marriage unconventionally? I lose it, mascara streaking, explaining how people will blame me, ignoring what I've endured, his depression, his family's judgments, our isolated life. I was surviving, not sinning. Now the house echoes too quietly without Dave's sighs or channel surfing. The thermostat's at my perfect 72 degrees, no mugs cluttering the sink, no mood to tiptoe around. My phone buzzes with app notifications, Ryan checking in. And honestly, maybe this is a blessing. Dave was never truly happy, even pre-depression, he was just there. No spark, no adventure. I tried igniting something, suggesting trips or hobbies, but he resisted change. I deserve someone who celebrates me, not someone who makes me feel guilty for living. Dave always weighed things down, turning talks into therapy sessions instead of fun. I've been chatting with a few guys since he left, and it's liberating, no monitoring, no jealousy, no heaviness. Ryan stopped by yesterday, we talked for hours about the fallout. He thinks Dave was controlling, overreacting to an agreed setup. You can't greenlight something then rage when it happens. I'm calling my brother this weekend to spill. He never liked Dave, always said he was too passive, not vibrant enough for me. He'll get it, I was making the best of a tough spot. Work friends are rallying too, especially the singles who know the grind of unfulfilled relationships. Divorce wraps in months, and I'm buzzing about fresh starts, yoga classes, that ceramics workshop I shelved because Dave wasn't interested. So much on hold from managing his moods. Who knows, maybe I'll meet someone electric, passionate, appreciative, not needing pills to function. Someone who sees my outgoing side as a plus, not a threat. I'm still young, vibrant, with loads to give. Hindsight? Dave and I drifted apart. It happens, especially starting young. People evolve, sometimes in clashing directions. I grew confident, knowing my wants. He withdrew deeper. We should have ended sooner instead of forcing it. No regrets. I tried everything: communicating needs, creative fixes, patience with his health. But you can't solo save a duo. Dave wasn't in it, preferring flight over fight. So yeah, that's the unfiltered truth. Folks might judge my choices, but they weren't in my shoes, dealing with a partner whose fog dimmed everything, feeling unseen in your own home. I did what I had to for joy, and I won't apologize.